Morning, folks. Another week begins, and it's a week of. Ouch. It's a week of FAFO, but we'll get there. Anyway, it was nice to see so many of you in Bannockburn on Saturday. Had a really great day. Had to leave early. Was a bit pissed off with the cops sending Sarah and I after in the one direction. Knowing fine well that the march was coming from the other direction. Well pissed off with that. Sarah and I were going down to catch the march and join them for the walk in. And we asked the cop what direction they're coming in. And the cop had pointed down the road and said, they're coming straight up there. So we went down to the corner to meet them. They were coming up round the other way. Bastard knew what he was doing. Really angry about that. And thanks to David and Dean, I've deposited the money you gave me at Stirling into the Two Davies account. And we should be getting the money in for YouTube the next day or so. And we'll start getting it out. We're going to mid-loading this time. Okay. Now, been a monumental weekend, folks. Monumental weekend. And we find ourselves once again, because of our government and the governments of our closest allies, on the wrong fucking side of history again. What a habit of making bad decisions, that mob in Westminster. And since Trump came to power, America's went to pot, hasn't it? But as you'll all be aware, there's only one story in the papers. Well, actually, there's two. The Herald's got something different this morning. But all the rest are only one story. And that is the US's illegal strike against the sovereign people and the sovereign state of Iran on behalf of the genocidal maniac which heads up the Israeli state. I don't see anything good coming of this, folks. I really don't. But anyway, let's get this underway, shall we? Andy Truck Davey out the truck at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it's overcast, 14 degrees, rain in the forecast, and the pollen count is high, main allergen, grass. So if, like me, you've got hay fever, get your antihistamine. Now, that's what the weather's like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look out your own bloody window. Shall we? Right, let's have a look to see who's in. John Baxter, Mark Telfer, Solari the Cat, good morning Solari. Dean, good morning Dean. I'm not quite sure how to say that. But hey, good day to you anyway, sir. With dragging us into Gulf War 3, no be good enough grounds to have a UDI. No, I don't think so. UDI comes after a plebiscite, no before it. Right. First up this morning, we've got a Scotsman. Let's find it and stick it up. Right, other end of the page in. That's a fail. You can see it be money, Mullins. I know, I only put it up a couple of minutes ago. Here we go. First up, a Scotsman. World left holding its breath after Trump strikes Iran. Starmer calls for diplomacy. Iran considers retaliation as Trump warns of further action. Evacuation flight set to bring UK citizens back to the region You know, as I said at the beginning, we're in the FAFO point in time. The Americans went doing this FAFO point in time in the Middle East a good few times. And they even ventured into the Far East once. My recollection is Far East and Middle East win. US arse kick 6-0 to the Middle East and the Far East. Get a wee more into that as we go on. Okay, so that's that rag this morning. Next up, we have a daily fail. What's that got for us this morning? Well, I'll tell you what it's got for us. The fucking same. America joins Middle East war. Let me correct that headline. America starts Middle East war. As world waits for Mueller's response to US bombing raid. I'm sure that meant Ayatollah. Anyway, fears UK will now face Iran terror backlash. Let me fix that fucking headline and all, shall I? Fears England will now face Iran terror backlash. Why do I say that? Because we don't have a problem here. We don't have a problem here. We don't have religious bigotry here. We don't have an anti-Muslim sentiment in general. They're just people. They're our people. We even had one as First Minister, a Muslim. His religion wasn't important. It was his talent that was important. If you remember right, these rancid rags in the UK statement after him because he was a Muslim. Can't he have a Muslim? A Hindi, aye. Muslim, no. No, he's a bogeyman. Right, let's get that done. Next up, we have the Rancid, and you know I don't put the Rancid up, but it has brink of global war, whole world in his hands, and it's a picture of Donald Trump with his red "Make America Great Again" hat on, better known to you and I as MAGA. Alright, let's fix that, shall we? Fate of world in hands of failing leader and liar in cognitive decline. Fuck, things are not looking good, are they, folks? Right, next up we'll get the Herald. That goes in something completely different because that's the way the Herald is. You know, the Herald's got a bollocks headline. Now, why is it a bollocks headline, Davey? Well, it's a bollocks headline. Hopes for Scottish jobs hit by bus firm move to England. And it says here that the Scottish and UK government are thinking about intervening to keep Alexander Dennis in Falkirk. No. The UK government invested heavily in their English plant because they were wanting them to move. So they 400 jobs in Falkirk will go. They'll go to England. Not the first time it's happened. No, but the last time it happens. Now, what's interesting about this is Anna Sarwar has got on the bandwagon trying to make and take advantage of the fact that these 400 jobs will go at Falkirk. He's talking about Manchester buying 166 buses for Dennis and asking how many the Scottish government have bought. Well, the answer is quite simple. 188 are on order for Alexander Dennis for the Scottish government in two different contracts. One for 44 and one for 144. But Sarwar's trying to make out that Manchester's buying buses. Why aren't the Scottish Government? You've probably seen the tweets flying about social media, folks. The truth is the Scottish Government is buying buses for Alexander Dennis. But, as it was explained in the comments, I didn't know what the score was. Apparently they're moving to the south coast to have better access to the export market. So there you go. That's the Herald for you. Let's get back to Trump and his stupidity, shall we? Because that's what's coming up next. Next we have the Looney Rag, the Express. So we'll put it up. And the Express has global tensions increase after Trump hits 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities. Starmer warns of escalation risk as UK terror threat rises. So let me fix that. Starmer warns of escalation risks as England's terror risk rises. We don't have one here. We weren't allowed that many people to come here, so we're 96% white. And the people who are here are well integrated with society and they're our brothers and sisters. So there's no bomb on us. That's for sure. But global tensions increase. That's true. As for the 3 nuclear facilities they have, according to Iranian news folks, they'd already moved everything after these sites knowing it was coming. That's what we're being told, that they'd already moved all the enriched uranium out of the areas and moved it elsewhere because they need it for their power plants. So they might have taken out the facilities that enriched the stuff, but the stuff itself wasn't there. Which is probably just as well, because you would have been contaminating a fair chunk of the Middle East with radioactive dust. Nuts. Right, let's take that down. Next up, we'll get the Times. Let's see what the Times has got for us this morning. If I remember correctly, it's quite a basic headline in the Times today, to be fair. Not at the other end then. So here we go. The Times has Iran vows revenge on US. Right. Now, folks, language is important. Iran vows revenge on US. Revenge. No, it's no revenge. It's rightful retaliation. Legal and lawful retaliation after an act of aggression against your state. Language is very important when it comes to these things, folks. It's no revenge. It's lawful retaliation for an illegal strike on a sovereign state. Emphasis on an illegal strike. And the IAEA has made it clear, and the CIA had made it clear to Trump, the Iranians don't have a nuclear bomb. Well, that was thrown into doubt the day after Trump's strike, because some are claiming that 5.1 scale earthquake on the 5.1 earthquake on the Richter scale in the north was the Iranians testing a nuclear weapon, but I fucking doubt it. But that's the claims that were coming out on Sunday. Right, but as I say, language is important, and revenge it is not. It's lawful retaliation for an illegal strike on a sovereign state, an act of aggression against a sovereign state. We say say language is important. Because we're being led to believe that the Iranians are the bad guys. We're also being led to believe that the children being slaughtered in Gaza are the bad guys. The media is a fucking disgrace. And I mean a fucking disgrace. Right, next up we have Telegraph. What nonsense Rick wrote for us this morning. The Telegraph has, revenge would be Iran's worst mistake, warns US. As I say, language is very important, folks. It would not be revenge. It would be lawful, legal retaliation in response to an illegal act against a sovereign state. We have to keep the facts in the forefront of our minds. Israel was the aggressor, and now America is the aggressor. Iran didn't attack either of these states. Iran isn't the bogeyman. And for 30 years, Netanyahu, 1993 is the first time I think he said the Iranians could develop a nuclear bomb. They're only a couple of months away from it. And the IAEA states to this day that they have never developed a nuclear bomb. The CIA told us all last week that they hadn't developed a nuclear bomb. In 2004 or 2006, the current Ayatollah, or what they're calling the Supreme Leader, he put a fatwa out and said he would kill any people in his nation who developed a nuclear bomb. It's against their doctrine. Whatever that is, let's take that down. So folks, another illegal war is what is coming if it escalates. And if Netanyahu gets his way, it will. It will. Right, next up's The Guardian. Put that up. And once again, we're at the incorrect use of language and incorrect description of what's going on here. Iran vows revenge after US bombs its key nuclear sites. That should say Iran vows retaliation after US bombs its key nuclear sites. As I say, it's been reported in the Middle East that they've already moved the enriched materials away. So contamination to the greater area in the Middle East will be minimal now that these three facilities have been wiped. But I keep saying this, and I mean this. We need to make sure that when we're talking about this stuff, that we make it clear to anyone that we're talking to about this, that this was an illegal act by the US following an illegal act by its ally Israel. And we are not on the right side of history here. We are not. The UK and the US are supporting a genocidal state, conduct a brutal genocide and colonial expansion in Palestine. We have watched them lead to war in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Libya. Now it looks like Iran. When what we should be doing is sorting out the state that is Israel. That's what we should be doing. But you think the fucking Americans would learn? Every single one of these misadventures they've got into, they've had their arse kicked. Every time they've galloped out into the world to create chaos and mayhem, they've had their arse kicked. Vietnam, arse kicked. Iraq, arse kicked. Lebanon, arse kicked. Syria, arse kicked. Afghanistan, arse kicked. It's about 5 or 6, nothing to the east against America. And this will not be any different if they decide to get involved more extensively. It'll be another case of, thanks very much, John. What we got here? Morning, Davey. Got day off today. Weather is cold and sunny in Fairmont. Anyhow, some funds. With Iran, a main supplier to China's energy, I fear we are in a tinderbox, all because of the evil Netanyahu. I couldn't disagree with that, John, because we are in a tinderbox. We've had Pakistan, China, Russia, Turkey, all come out on the side of Iran in this. And I have to say, I come down the side of Iran in this one and all. History shows us that they haven't developed a bomb. And history shows us that even though that state has been so heavily sanctioned, nearly into the dark ages, in the 30 years they've been there, they have flourished to become self-sufficient. They have become a state worth looking at. And there's a lot there to admire as well as dislike. But it looks like America's heading for another arse-kicking in the Middle East, which may well have wider ramifications, as John was pointing out. As I say, language is important. It's no revenge. It's retaliation. Lawful retaliation. Right, let's get that done. I think the next one up's the eye. What's the eye got for the day? They normally have a wee twist on things, so we'll see what it's got. Trump pushes Middle East to the brink. Aye, well. Iran's talking to the other states in the Middle East. And they're talking to him about creating a coalition to ensure stability and peace in the region and throwing America out of the Middle East. And that might well be the outcome here. That might well be the outcome here. Right, let's get that done. Next up should be the metro. In fact, there will be the metro. Only got a couple of papers left to look at. No national for some reason today. And the paper roundup. I must have missed something. Right, the metro's got shock waves after America bombers go in, hammered. Well, they're really quite hammered. And as I say, they claim to have moved the enriched materials from these sites before the sites were attacked, which is good news. Because there'd be an awful lot of nuclear fallout for a long fucking way around about for a long time if there had been enriched materials there. Because it had been pulverised and gasified and out into the fucking atmosphere. Right. That's a metro for us. As to hammered, they're no beating it. They won't beat Iran. And if they're going to go further, I did say the war drums were banging louder and louder. Well, they are. They really are. And they're no longer faint and in the distance. A sort of middle distance now, and quite clear. and getting nearer fast. Right, the Star's got one that makes me laugh this morning, folks. So it is as we round up day one of this week. The Star's got one that really makes me laugh today. So let's put it up. And the Star has Noel and Liam's mum, Peggy, reunites Oasis. Mum might say. Mum might say if she fucking wants to. Davey's going to tell you the truth. A big pie day is what reunited Oasis. Some promoters went along and said, we'll give you X amount of dough, guys, if you stop fucking around and finding out and get back to playing. Now, fucking around and finding out is what the West is just about to find out. Now, as we know, America has hit that fuck around and find out button 4 or 5 times in the Middle East so far, and it's 5-0 in the Middle fucking East. But it would appear the poor citizens of America are about to find out what Trump's fucking around can do. And potentially the rest of the world's about to find out as well. Because as the record had it, the whole world in his hands. And Larry, you might be right about Oasis, but I'm not getting into that one. I'm no. Hey. As I say, the American people and the American servicemen specifically in the Middle East are about to find out what Trump's fucking around has done. But it's always the wee fella who suffers for the big fellas fucking around. Anyway, that's the first one of the week out the road, folks. An interesting start to the week. We'll see how it progresses. Let's hope Milligan's right. And it'll go to diplomacy now. Because the alternative doesn't bear thinking about. Because you know there'll be a show this afternoon, folks. Because Milligan's on holiday. And there'll not be an afternoon show on Thursday either. Because he's still on fucking holiday. I think next Monday's the first of the afternoon, Two Davies again. But I'll be back here 10:30 tomorrow morning. And we'll see what's in the press then. Let's hope I'm not sitting here talking about escalation overnight. Hey? Look after each other. We're about to find out what Trump's fucking around is going to mean for the ordinary Joe that serves the American people in the Middle East. Because they're about to find out.